Today on Steelers Talk, we are going more in depth for the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of their options at slot cornerback, while Cam Sutton is going to be going through his 8-game suspension. Yesterday, we went over the breaking news, and we kind of glossed over some of these guys. But today, we're going to go a little bit more in depth. We'll go over the Pro Football Focus grade snaps at the cornerback position, slot cornerback position. It's going to be a good one today, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now before we get into today's content, because we're just 70 subscribers away from getting to the 55K club here at Chat Sports. This is a club that only 9 other channels at Chat Sports has been able to reach. So today we can solidify our spot within the top 10 channels in Chat Sports history when you click that subscribe button right now. But hey, man, I know a lot of the people that watch this show are already subscribed. Those people can't help me out. It's the new people. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, we are counting on you to help us cross the finish line here and get into the 55K club. So make sure you click that subscribe button for daily Steelers news and rumors content for free here on YouTube. So let's get into it right now, man. Cam Sutton, of course, newly signed slot cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, has been suspended for the first 8 games of the NFL campaign by the National Football League for breaking the personal conduct policy. We broke down everything that led up to this in yesterday's video, so if you want to get that news, you can go check out that video. But the big question for today's show is who's going to start in the meantime at slot cornerback, okay? Because that's definitely a major question. You brought in Cam to be your starting slot corner this year. You expect him to probably be that starting slot when he comes back week 10 and onward, but who's going to be that starting slot for weeks 1 through 8? So first off here, I'm going to be rattling off some of the guys that are currently in-house, currently on the Steelers roster that could potentially fill that role. So the guy that has been getting the most first-team reps at OTAs is Josiah Scott, okay? And Josiah is somebody that's bounced around different practice squads. The most that he has played is in 2022 with the Philadelphia Eagles, where he was playing as their starting slot cornerback for a short while. And here was his Pro Football Focus grades during that season. This is really the only time Josiah has had any significant playing time in the National Football League, and it wasn't exactly pretty, guys. Just a 58.4 overall Pro Football Focus grade. The pass rush, which we know the Steelers like to blitz their slot corners, he wasn't very good at that. The tackling wasn't very good either at 52.8. So he's fine. He's like a practice squad level guy, but if you're trotting out Josiah Scott as your starting slot corner for the first 8 weeks of the NFL season, I think opposing NFL offenses are probably going to have a pretty easy time picking him apart and kind of picking on him here in the Steelers defense. But somebody that has been kind of rising up the ranks and had a really good offseason program is undrafted free agent out of West Virginia, Beanie Bishop Jr. and Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin. Everybody that talks about this kid just talks glowingly about the way that this guy goes into work and his instincts playing the game of football. And last year with the West Virginia Mountaineers, he was excellent. Look at the ball production right here, guys. In 13 games played, he had 4 interceptions and 20 pass breakups. So this guy has a nose for the football. He's really good in coverage. He has a little bit of experience playing in the slot as well. Got 67 tackles last year in West Virginia. So he's certainly somebody to keep your eye on, and I do think he's going to have a really good opportunity to prove himself at Steelers training camp this year. Then another guy the Steelers brought in via free agency, actually right before they got Cam Sutton, was Grayland Arnold, somebody that's played for the Houston Texans just last year, and he actually played pretty decently for the Texans in 2023. Take a look at his Pro Football Focus grades. Our graphic says 2022, but it's 2023, just so you guys know. But then we got the overall 71.4, so that's already better than what Josiah Scott did back in 2022, and pretty much all these grades are better than what Josiah Scott ended up having. So if you're just going to compare Grayland Arnold versus Josiah Scott, what they have done as pros to this point, I would have to say Grayland Arnold is probably the better player, and because of that, I wouldn't count out Grayland Arnold to be the starting slot corner for week 1. He's the guy, he's someone with experience, and I think out of the experienced guys on the roster right now playing this position, I think he has the best track record out of all of them. So I think right now, most people are talking about either Josiah Scott or Beanie Bishop Jr. I don't think Grayland Arnold gets mentioned enough in these conversations, but I think he's got a really good chance to be the starting slot for the Steelers at the end of training camp this year. So let me know down there in the comments section, who's going to win this battle for starting slot corner if the Steelers don't bring anybody else? Let me know down there in the comments section. Type JS if you think it's going to be Josiah Scott. Type BB if you think it's going to be Beanie Bishop Jr. Or type GA if you think it's going to be Grayland Arnold. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So here in just a second, I'm going to be telling you about our friends at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. And while I talk about Mando, go ahead, go into the comments section, find that pinned comment, and let me know who you think will be the starting slot corner for the Steelers in 2024. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Mando, and a big shout out to Mando for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. Mando Whole Body Deodorant will be your best friend this summer. Take advantage of Mando's special offer just for Steelers Talk listeners, which gives new customers $5 off their best-selling starter pack with code CHAT at shopmando.com. Mando is clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours, is safe for your entire body, including your pits, package, feet, and everywhere in between. And not only does it stop odor before it starts, but Mando also comes available in 4 cologne-quality scents, such as Mount Fuji, Pro Sport, Cloverwoods, and my personal favorite, Bourbon Leather. Here in Dallas, I have to deal with triple-digit heat just about every single day, guys, and Mando has been a lifesaver as it keeps my pits dry and my body smelling fresh no matter if I go to watch a ball game with Coop at Globe Life Park or if I go see an outdoor concert with Cassie. Mando's whole body deodorant has me covered 24/7. All 12 months of the year. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash or their award-winning deodorant wipes, plus free shipping. And guys, what I really recommend is their body wash. It's my favorite product in this entire line. I have an entire bottle of the Bourbon Leather body wash at my shower at home. I love the way that it smells. It smells masculine. It smells fresh, and it keeps me smelling fresh for up to 72 hours. You can ask the people here at Chat Sports. Mando has been a a godsend, I should say. So luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market today. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. A big thanks to Mando Whole Body Deodorant for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. Now, a couple of other potential in-house options that I think are less likely. Deshon Elliott is somebody with experience in the slot. He's played quite a bit there over the last 2 seasons, had almost 100 snaps there last year with the Miami Dolphins, and then he had over 120 snaps there when he played for the Detroit Lions back in 2022. Now, he's more of a safety. I think the Steelers really see him more as a safety, but you can kind of see how this defense and this secondary could be configured if they decide to put Deshon Elliott at slot corner, at least for the first 8 weeks, right? Because I think Joey Porter Jr. and Dante Jackson are slated in as your 2 outside guys, and you could push Deshon Elliott over to slot corner. Minkah Fitzpatrick is your free safety, and then DeMonte KZ can be your strong safety. So essentially what this would be, guys, is you would really be leaning heavily into this 3-safety package, essentially, for the first 8 weeks until Cam Sutton comes around, which I could see happening. But in terms of who's going to be the true slot corner, I would say it's probably not going to be Deshon Elliott, but it's an interesting idea. Then another guy that could potentially get the job is Ryan Watts, the rookie out of Texas. Producer Coop, a big Texas Longhorns fan, is nodding in approval here, but he played mostly safety during OTAs this year, and I don't think that the Steelers are going to already force a position change on him. Now, who knows? I mean, maybe as the rookie, he's willing to adapt and he's willing to try something new during training camp, and who knows? Maybe he thrives in Latrobe at this spot and ends up earning the position. But I'd say out of all the in-house options that could potentially get the job, Watts is probably the least likely. Now, coming up here on Steelers Talk, I'm going to be going over 3 free agency options that I see as realistic options for the Steelers if they want to go out and address this position on the open market. But before I do that, let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Should the Steelers sign another defensive back to start at slot cornerback for Week 1? Give me a yes or give me a no. Give me a yes if you think they should go out and get another free agent, or type no if you think they should find a solution already on the roster. So the 2 guys that I think, are getting talked about the most are the guys that were on the Steelers last year, Patrick Peterson and, of course, Chandon Sullivan, who combined had 550 snaps combined in the slot for the Steelers. So there's a lot of experience between these two guys, right? And they're both still available in free agency. They're both going to be super team cost-friendly, right, if you end up getting them. But Brian Batko from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette had this to say about the possibility of getting one of these former Steelers. I still think I wouldn't bet on signing Patrick Peterson or Chandon Sullivan, because if they would have preferred that option, then why wouldn't have they just done that instead of Sutton to begin with? Now, I think that the answer to Brian's question there, why would they bring in Patrick Peterson when they could have just gotten him instead of Cam Sutton? I think the answer to that is that they like Sutton more, but now that they know that this suspension is going to be 8 weeks, and, might be worth the investment to bring back a Patrick Peterson or a Chandon Sullivan. So I'm not going to completely rule that out. And my opinion on this, guys, is that a reunion with either Patrick Peterson or Chandon Sullivan is still very possible and is still in the cards. They're going to be very cost effective here. You're probably going to get them for like the vet minimum. They have experience playing with the guys on this defense. They have experience with the terminology and the verbiage, so they can fit this defense like a glove. Plus, Patrick Peterson played pretty darn well in the slot last year when he got his opportunity. And I think that he would probably be my preferred choice between the two former Steelers. But then another interesting option here that I'm going to throw out there is Stephon Gilmore, former outside cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys, but he's played quite a bit in the slot throughout his career. And you can even argue that he had some of his best years in the National Football League when he was getting significant slot snaps with New England back in 2019 and 2018. He had over 150 snaps on the defensive side of the ball, playing slot corner. Now, he hasn't done it all that much, even though he did have 56 with Dallas last year. So it's certainly going to be an acquired skill set that he's going to have to, regain. It's going to be like riding a bike. But, man, I really do think that he is somebody that could come in here and play a really good slot cornerback if the Steelers were interested in him and then Gilmore had interest back in the Steelers. But I think that's the thing, guys. I think Gilmore wants to be a starting outside corner. I think he wants to be an every down kind of guy. And at this point in his career, he's not really going to take a rotational role, which is what he would be asked to do here in Pittsburgh. So I don't think that Gilmore is a legitimate possibility for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's definitely intriguing, especially if he's willing to come to the Steel City. Now, before I go here, I got some names that I would not consider and that, have seen thrown out there that I don't think are legitimate options for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll start with Dante Jackson because, I've thrown this out before earlier in the offseason. He's smaller. He's got great short area quickness. He's got the body type to potentially make a move over to the slot. But it seems like the Steelers really are steadfast and they're really bullish on him being an outside corner, so I don't see him moving. Then Ahkello Witherspoon, former Steelers cornerback. I saw an article today suggesting they should go get Witherspoon to play the slot. The problem is he's never played slot in his entire career, so this makes absolutely zero sense unless you move Dante Jackson to the slot, and we already discussed that. That's not happening. Same thing goes for Xavier Howard. He's a good player, when he's healthy. He had a down year last year. He dealt with some injuries. He's never really played in the slot. So if you're going to commit to Joey Porter Jr. and Dante Jackson on the outside, Xavier Howard doesn't make a lot of sense either. And then Adoree Jackson, the Giants tried him in the slot last year, and he played so bad they had to move him back outside because he was that atrocious. He's got some experience in the slot, but it's not good experience. He was one of the worst slot corners in football when he was playing in that position. So Adoree Jackson is not a legitimate option either in my mind. And then Minkah Fitzpatrick played quite a bit in the slot last year for the Steelers, actually, because of all the injuries that this team was dealing with, and they had to move him around a little bit. So you could think, hey, they could move Minkah back into the slot a little bit, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that this defense is committed to moving him back to free safety where he plays his best football, and I don't think they'll consider moving him to the slot this season. Now let me know down there in the comments section, out of all the options that we have talked about today, who should be the starting slot cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 1? Is it somebody in-house? Do you want to go out and get a free agent? Let me know your thoughts down there in the comments section. I want to hear. Now, a little, congratulations here to my little brother, Joe Sperry. He announced his commitment to play baseball for the University of Minnesota today. So, Ski-U-Mah, row the boat, whatever you guys want to call it, man. It's great. He's going to be playing for his home state. And that's really great stuff there. So I just wanted to give a quick congratulations to my little brother, Joe Sperry, on his recent commitment. So proud of you, man. Okay, now, our live schedule for Steelers Talk Live this week, 3 straight days of live shows here on Steelers Talk over the next 3 days. We're going to have regular Steelers Talk Live, 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, so make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you know when that is. We got the Paul Skeens Watch Party at 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday afternoon, and then we're back live again for Steelers Talk Live at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday for yet another edition of Steelers Talk Live. So again, guys, make sure you click that subscribe button. Really do appreciate all of your support. And until tomorrow, here we go, Steelers.